Good morning. Welcome to the lecture on The Admirable Crichton by the famous Irish dramatist J.M.Barrie. J.M.Barrie was a popular dramatist who produced plays, who wrote and staged plays during the Irish dramatic movement. Now, in today's lecture, the topics that are going to be discussed in today's lecture are as follows. J.M.Barrie as a dramatist, important works of J.M.Barrie, characteristic features of J.M.Barrie's works, the story, the plot line of The Admirable Crichton, the plot, the story, the action of the play of The Admirable Crichton, and then introduction to dramatis personae and act-wise summary of the play. J.M.Barrie was Sir James Matthew Barrie, who was a popular Irish dramatist who lived between 1860 and 1937. So, the following are some of the most popular works of J.M.Barrie. All Licked Idylls, A Window in Thames, The Little Minister, When a Man's Single, The Sentimental Tommy, Peter Pan, and Peter Pan in Kensington Gardens. The later part of his career, he wrote the following works: What Every Woman Knows, The 12-Pound Look, The Will, and Dear Brutus. So, with a wide range of plays, J.M.Barrie occupied a large theatre space and he made a great impact on the Irish national imagination. The following are some of the characteristic features of J.M.Barrie's works. In his plays, he created a fictional environment which was characteristic of magical realism, with particular reference to Peter Pan or the boy who did not grow. So, in the world of magical realism, J.M.Barrie created his protagonists who switch over from the real and the unreal and speaking in a metaphorical language, addressing the issues of the concern of the nation. Another common theme in the plays of J.M.Barrie was youth and adolescence. J.M.Barrie had his own place in the Irish national movement through his plays which are written for a three-dimensional reception. The Irish national movement, which was in the backdrop of a play with a mythological background, the working class population and their interaction with the bourgeoisie lifestyle. Now, I begin with the introduction to the play The Admirable Crichton. The Admirable Crichton is a play in 4 acts. The play is written in a combination of prose and conversational dialogues. It begins with a prologue and the play carries a description of the setting, which is Sir Loam's Hall, and the dramatis personae are as follows. Sir Loam, who is the head of the house, who takes care or who is the leader in the house Loam Hall, and he is respected for his stature and he is respected for his office. And Ernest, who is the eldest son of Sir Loam, and the three young women, Lady Mary, Agatha, and Catherine. Lady Mary is the eldest of the three, who is 22 years old, and Agatha is 2 years her younger, and Catherine 2 years younger to Agatha. They are the significant dramatis personae in the play The Admirable Crichton. In addition, there are some working men in the name of Rollestone and a navy man. Now I begin with the summary of the play. It is divided into acts. The first act begins with Loam Hall in England, and where Sir Loam and Ernest has a conversation, and Crichton, who is the protagonist of the play, serves his master Sir Loam. The play begins with the description of the arrangement towards the dinner, and Ernest is happy that Loam Hall in Mayfair area of London is preparing for a dinner for some guests. So Crichton is working continuously, working happily and cheerfully to meet the demands of the guests who would be arriving in the evening. And Ernest remains happy in Crichton's presence, and he sees that the arrangement of Crichton is good, and it suits Sir Loam's instruction. And he looks at the teacups which are arranged by Crichton, and he says that life is like a teacup, and it can always be made cheerful. So as they talk, the time passes and the dinner is happily completed. The three ladies making cheer. Lady Mary, Agatha and Catherine, they make cheer, and in the course of the play we get to know that Ernest and the maidwoman Miss Fleury are interested in each other. Ernest and Miss Fleury, they like each other, and when they get a turn to talk to each other, they talk happily and they try to hide it from the other two sisters. Now towards the end of the act, the first act, the readers are let to know that the omniscient narrator in the play, introduces the dramatis personae and their efforts. The narrator calls, or the omniscient narrator describes the dramatis personae in the play, and the narrator calls them with the pronoun our. He makes use of the pronoun our to describe the dramatis personae on the stage. So as the act proceeds, the narrator introduces the efforts of the dramatis personae to get ready for a voyage. They prepare to leave for a voyage, and they are happy that after such a long time they get to spend their time on a pleasurable voyage. So in the voyage, it is planned that Loam, who has come home after a very long time in his business, at last he will have some time on his own and with his family. And the three ladies, they cheerfully make arrangement for a successful voyage. And Crichton, as the chief butler, he prepares and he does his job, and he spends his time in arranging for the voyage. The second act begins with the description that the crew has met a storm on their voyage, and they are washed ashore onto an uninhabited island. The uninhabited island, all the crew members, all the members of the Loam family and Crichton and the servants, they reach the shore safely. They lose their ship, but their lives are saved. They are in an uninhabited island, and it is everywhere, wherever they see, it is only the sand, and wherever they see, it is only the sand, and wherever they see, it is only the sea, and they have an entire uninhabited island at their disposal. Now, the Loams, they are stunned, and they see the island, and they walk over the length and breadth of the island, and it was Crichton who takes over, and he spends his time, he makes the crew members happy, he makes them cheerful, and he makes them look at what is prevalent in the island. Now, due to Crichton's effort, the crew members spend some happy time on the island, and as the third act opens, it is already with a passage of 2 months, and their happiness has not been left down. They are spending the time happily, and of course with an expectation for a rescue ship to arrive. So, with that expectation, they spend their time happily, they spend their time arranging for their food and their stay in the island. So, it is Crichton who proactively takes up some efforts to cook food for the entire team, and with the efforts of all the crew members and with the efforts of all the Loams, he builds a hut. And it is a collective effort of the team members, and they shift over to the trees in the island, and they spend time sitting down under the shade of the tree, and they recollect their time, their valuable time which they had spent in London. And at times they lose their hope whether they would ever reach London or whether they would ever see Loam Hall again. And as time passes by, they hear a gunshot at a distance. The gunshot, when it is heard, it gives a ray of hope among the crew members. And the gunshot is heard, and the ladies among the group, the ladies among the Loam family, they are very happy that at last a rescue ship is at the bay. At last the rescue ship is in their hand's distance. So they see a ship arriving, and they catch attention of the ship, and they finally board the ship. And the third act, which is named, the title of the third act is The Other Island, where the reader is left to judge the experience of the crew members. The experience of the crew members, where they finally reach the Loam Hall, and they recollect their experience in the island. Now, it is here that at the end of the play, all the untied knots, all the knots in the play are brought to its conclusion, and the young men and women in the play, they retain the love and affection that they had engendered during their stay in the island. So, at the end, Sir Loam is it is brought to Sir Loam's knowledge that Crichton and Lady Mary have already fallen in love when they were in the uninhabited island, and Ernest and Miss Fleury, they tell their love to Sir Loam, and it is at that time that Sir Loam he gives his consent for the marriage of the young people in the Loam Hall, and the play ends with a happy note of 2 weddings in the near future. Thank you.